Out of Abraham, who did the Lord say, tell Abraham who the chosen people would be?
The chosen people?
Yes.
The Jews.
Right. Which come out of whose seed?
Isaac.
Oh, okay, good. Very good. So, all right, Shalom, Akim. Shalom. All right, so this is the Most High Sabbath High Holy Day. We got to remember that we always want to recognize and pray to the Most High, recognize the Most High and Yahushua on His High Holy Day. So that's the Sabbath, one of the main High Holy Days. So we're in the Sabbath right now. So as much as possible, we're going to remember and recognize the High Holy Days, the Sabbath. All right, so what I wanted to go over, right, was concerning when you read the Bible, can a man have more than one wife according to the Bible? So when you read the scriptures, especially in the Old Testament, you read how the different men had more than one wife. And was that according to the law or not according to the law of the Most High? Did the Most High allow it, or did He didn't allow it? All right. Then, when you read the New Testament, you read what the Mashiach Yahushua said about whether a man should have more than one wife or not. So you want to go from the Old Testament, right, and see what was allowed in the Old Testament, and bring it up to the New Testament to see how it relates to what the Old Testament is saying. On whether a man should have more than one wife or not, because that's like controversy, right? Especially in this society when they teach the Christian philosophy and Christian values and so forth on how a man should deal with his wife, or how a man should deal with just being monogamous with one woman. We want to see what the scriptures really say about it, because of course the churches aren't going to really teach. When you read the Bible, especially in the Old Testament, how men had more than one wife, right? And so it's a big controversy. But I just want to start with this one scripture here in 1 Corinthians 13 and the 9th verse. All right, we're going to start with that. And your brothers out there got to read, so you got to read loud, because you're going to be on the camera. So 1 Corinthians 13 and 9, we just want to start with that. All right, I don't know, Karat Labram?
Okay.
Okay.
We have 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 9. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part.
So there you go. We know in part, and we prophesy in part. So is the Most High giving us the whole 360 degrees of knowledge, wisdom, understanding at this time? No, we prophesy in part. So as the Most High gives it to us, right, in Yahushua, then we go out and teach and we prophesy. But there are things that we found out, later on, as you're in the truth and knowledge and wisdom of the Most High, we found out years later. We didn't find out about the new moon until years after I came into the truth. Understand? But that's when the Most High gave it to us. Brothers didn't find out about the chariots, right, till years later after they came to the truth. All right? We thought we were going to be delivered by 747s and airplanes and stuff like that. Right? So, and so the Most High brings it to us as we progress and as we mature in the truth. The Most High brings us the knowledge. So we prophesy in part. Yeah, we still got to prophesy, but we prophesy in part. Understand? So you still got to go with the full spirit of truth Even though we may not know everything, right? All right? But we still got to go with the full confidence in the spirit of truth when we go out there and prophesy. Just like brothers thought of the year 2000, right? Then the year 2000 came, and it's not it. So now what do we got to do? See? You got to make the adjustment, don't you? Yeah, but
before that, from most people here, they didn't understand that the church was going to pick them up. So
Right.
to the seven were not for passports.
yeah, yeah, how about that? Right. So there's a lot of things we don't understand, but as time went on, I mean, we didn't know about the Dark Ages. Remember the Dark Ages? We didn't know about that until the Spirit brought it to us, right? So the year 2000 thing. But then when we found out that it was wrong to teach it like that, then we had to make the adjustment. Yeah, and then you're going to have the people out there that are going to say, you're false prophets, you're this and that. Yeah, okay. Did that stop you still going in the full spirit of truth with them or something? No, it shouldn't stop you. See? But we just got to realize we can't teach things necessarily that we don't necessarily know or see in the scriptures yet. Understand? So, and then that's why, you know, brothers say never lean upon your own mind or what you think something is. Always go over it and over it with elders and other brothers, because where the congregation is, where there's a congregation of men trying to understand the scriptures and the parables of the scriptures, then that's where Yahweh is at. Then he's going to bring you the truth. He's going to bring it to you right there. But when you lean upon your mind, see, and then you walk around saying you're Paul and you're this and you're this person and that person, see, and nobody else has seen that, nobody else has been given a vision of that, see, that's leaning upon your own mind. So you got to wait till the Spirit of truth gives it to the congregation and to brothers. And you would know. The Spirit will show you, yeah, that's the truth right there. Yeah. Understand? It'll show you. The Spirit will be comfortable. You'll be comfortable with what that breakdown is. And then you'll know that's the Spirit of truth. But when there's controversy, when there's, you know, all different kinds of, you know, I don't understand and I don't believe that, then, you know, you gotta check it over. So this is what the Spirit is showing us. So read that one more time up.
1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 9. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part.
Right, so we prophesied in part. Now read 10.
But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away.
Yeah, see? So the part that we don't know, the part that we're trying to understand. Just like now, brothers are trying to figure out whether the angels who had sinned, or angels that came into the earth, did they sin, and did they, you know, like you read in Genesis 6 chapter, did they lay with the woman in the earth? See, some brothers think that they were angels, some brothers think, no, they weren't angels, the angels wouldn't do that. See? Now we got to come together and figure that out. Because some brothers believe, you know, the angels did that, right? And some brothers don't believe it. So now what do? Well, you got to come together and in the spirit of truth, in Yahushua, and then go over it. Spirit's going to show us, understand? Spirit will show us, understand? So we just got to believe in the Spirit and Most High Yahushua, and He will show us that, understand? But we're not going to go over that today. I'm just saying that some brothers, it's up there. They don't understand it. See? But that which is perfect is Yahushua, right? So when that which is perfect is come, that's Yahushua. Then that which is in part, see, that part that we don't understand, or that part that maybe we can't get. Understand? So the Most High going to reveal to us what He needs to reveal to the men to go out there and prophesy. But everything else, He going to leave until the end. Understand? He going to leave until the end. Then we're going to know it. Understand? We're going to know it. That's why he says, don't look into genealogies and so forth. See? Well, you're going to know who everybody is in the end. But the Most High ain't going to reveal that to, to everybody now. Understand? And if a man is revealed that, it would be smart for him not to reveal that to nobody. And that would be foolish. Because you just can't convince everybody that you're this such and such a person. You just can't. You just understand? Everybody's not going to believe it. See? And so when you say you went to the Jordan River and Gabriel came to you and you were all alone, how you going to convince masses of men about that? How you going to do that? It's just impossible. How you going to do it? Yeah, you may convince 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, but you ain't going to convince masses of people that. It's just, somebody will say, I don't believe that. See? I don't believe that, bro. So that's why the Most High said, don't go into that type of stuff. But it's going to be revealed in this time. Understand? Okay. So, and then now read 11th verse.
Verse 11.
Yeah.
When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things.
And so why does it say that? When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child. See? So, you're a child when? See? You're a child, let's talk about an actual child when they're like, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, adolescent stage, right? All right? Even teenager stage, the beginning of teenage years, right? So you think like a child and you speak childish things. Yeah. But also, when also are you like a child to the Most High? Yeah.
When you knew in the truth.
When you knew it, right. You're a novice. You're like really a child. You're like a baby in the eyes of the Most High. I don't care if you're 55 years old. It doesn't mean nothing. Most High don't care. You're a child in this thing. See? So I don't care if you were in politics in the world. When you come in here, you're what?
A child.
You're a child. And the ones who've been in here are the elders. And you've been in politics all those years and so forth. You got to come and humble yourself like what? A child. Unto the ones who are the elders that are in here before you. So you may have the wisdom of the world, but you don't have this wisdom. Understand? So you still gotta, if Jesse Jackson all of a sudden decided to come to the truth, you gotta sit right there and be quiet. Nobody wants to hear about Rainbow Coalition and all that stuff. That's gone. It's over with, right? So I'm just saying you gotta humble yourself like a child. So the childish things would be what? See? What would be the childish things? Think about it. What would be the childish things that people talk about? Yeah. Yeah, Mike.
What you learned in college?
Yeah, well, what you learn in the world. Understand? Certain things you learned in the world, those are the childish things, especially when it comes up against what? Most High's word. It's childish. Understand? For the wisdom of the world is what? It's foolishness. It's childish. See? It's foolishness. I say, especially against the Most High's wisdom. See? That's why people can't hear it. They think we fool. We become fools for Yahushua. When we teach them, they can't grasp it. It's over their heads, really. It's over them. So they can't grasp it. So they can't accept it, and it can't come into their spirit because they're dealing with worldly things. Understand? If it's not meant for them, they're not going to grasp it. Okay, they're going to be against it. So that's what it means. It says put away childish things. I mean, put away the thing you did in the world, which was sin and so forth. Put that away. That's what it means, basically. And also, it's literally talking about the child. Right? Put those things away. As you grow out of adolescence and so forth, you come into a man, you don't do the childish thing you did when you were 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, do you? I would hope not, brother. I think that's part of the problem. We're doing childish things. And here you 25, 26, 27, 28 years old, and you still doing the same thing when you were like 15. It ain't gonna work, brother. See? It's not gonna work. Understand? See, when you read the scriptures, you had men who were 8 years old, they were kings already. Of course, they needed help, but they were in the position of kings when they were young. So they had to quickly put away childish things, didn't they? They were not sitting on the throne with a video game. You know what I'm saying? They were not sitting on a throne, understand what I'm saying? Playing games. Understand what I'm saying? Yeah, there was no video games back then, but they weren't playing games. They had to be serious at a young age. See, so Esau successfully took the spirit of manhood away from our people, especially the men. And so at an age where they should be manly, they're like children. So that's why they're 22, 23 years old and got, 100 video games. Understand? They're still like a child. So put away the childish things, put away the sin and so forth, right? And go ahead, Al.
Verse 12.
Yeah.
For now we see through a glass, darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know even as also I am known.
Right, see? For now we see through a glass darkly. How about that? See? So you're looking through a dimly lit glass. You can see partly through it, but what? Not all the way, right? Not all the way. So we see partly through this, understand? But not every. This thing is bigger than what we think, bro. See? Because we are in the flesh and we're in these bodies, so we don't really see the broadness and everything that's out there that the Most High is doing. We just don't see it. Understand? We just don't see it. We can't. It's just really, you can't see it. You're not supposed to. Understand? That's why it says, only think thereupon what you're learning now. See? What the Most High revealed to you now, only deal with that. But you got brothers trying to read books that are, books of witchcraft, these other books, trying to understand about calling the angels before you and stuff like that. See? Trying to learn the 7 steps of Solomon, whatever that is, I don't know, something like that. All this madness. And all you're doing is conjuring up demons unto yourself. See? Because it's too much. You're going too far into things, See, brother said, I read the book of Jasher, or what is it, Asher or Jasher, whatever it is, right?
Yeshua.
Huh?
Yeshua.
Yeah. Jasher, right?
Yeah, Yeshua.
Okay, so, now I never read that book. You know what I'm saying? I never read that book. The book of Enoch, I never read those books. But I think by now, because I hear brothers who read the books and they would teach you things out of it, I never read it. But it's like I felt like I read the book. You know what I'm saying? I never read it, but I felt like I read it because the brothers that said, yeah, the book of Enoch said this and this and this. Okay, brother, so you read it. All right, what do you want? A medal? Okay, you read it. Yeah, brother.
But the thing is, people don't understand that those books always divert you back to the Bible.
Yeah.
Which is the main important.
Which is the main important. Very good, yeah. It always brings you back to the scriptures. Okay? Back to the Holy Bible, those books. So, yeah, maybe one day I'll read it, but I never read those books. You get enough out the Bible, brother. You get enough of what you need out the Bible. I never read witchcraft books. I never did that type of thing. Because, what happens then? Every demon in hell come on you. So, and when I found that out, I was scared to read the book. I said, no, I'm not reading it. I know enough about Satan just by reading the Bible. And about demons and stuff, reading the Bible, right? I don't read about witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? So, I never did that stuff. And you don't have to. See? But next thing you know, you got some demon on you, you can't get off. You got enough of that. You got enough demons on you. See? And now you're going to call some other demon, some extra demon from hell on you, and not even realize it. Okay? So the scripture says, we see through a glass darkly. Understand? And so what the Most High reveals to us, that's what we're supposed to teach. Understand? And then as we get mature in the truth, the Most High reveals some more. As you get more mature, the Most High reveals some more. The more mature, the Most High reveals some more. Understand what I'm saying? Go ahead, Doc. Was that it on that?
Yeah, that was in 12.
It says, I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. See? how are we known? You see, we're known through the scriptures, right? We're known as the Israelites, the Hebrews, through the Holy Word. See? So how are you known? You're supposed to find out who you are and read the scripture. Now, brothers should read the Josephus now. No way you should be in here and not read the Josephus. I mean, I read that book like maybe 2 times, maybe 2.5 times. And that book is what? It's like this thick, right? Thick as this Strong's dictionary. See? So you got to read that because that's the whole history. Understand? So you want to read the history. And there's other books that you are going to read that bring the history to light. You know, like Babylon and Timbuktu. Okay, you read that. All right, J. Rogers, you read that. Understand what I'm saying? And other books. So you add those books, and then the books on the things that, let's say, Esau did in the world. Let's say the one about Caesar Borgia and Sarah Bradford, she wrote about that. You may read that. See? So there's a few other things to read. But other stuff that's not necessary for you to read, you should lay off. Yeah, go ahead. You got a question? Okay. So now get Philippians 3 and 12. Get Philippians 3 and 12.
Okay, reading out of Philippians, chapter 3, verse 12. Not as though as I had already attained, either were already perfect, but I follow after, if that I may apprehend that for which also I am apprehended of Yahushua.
Right. So Paul is basically saying he's attaining, right, that perfectness, right, being perfect. He follow after that I may apprehend that for which also I am apprehended. Of course, we're apprehended in Yahushua. See? So Yahushua is looking to apprehend you, to bring you into the knowledge and wisdom of the truth. So if you want to attain anything, you want to attain this. Understand? So you can attain everything in the world, but if you don't attain this, understand? Everything else you attain means nothing, right? It means nothing. I don't care if you're a singer, dancer, multi-millionaire, whatever, you got fame. Okay, you attained all that, but it means nothing if you don't get this. Understand? You want to be apprehended by Yahushua. You want Yahushua to choose you. Say, apprehend you and then reveal the knowledge to you. See? This is what you want. If you don't want that, then you want Satan. I mean, what else is it? See? What else is it? You can't serve the Most High and Mammon. You can't serve the Most High and Satan. So it's either or. You're going to serve the Most High, leave Satan alone. You're going to serve Satan, leave the Most High alone. So you can't serve both. So if you say you don't want to be, you don't want to attain Yahushua, then who are you really dealing with? Understand? Directly, indirectly, you're dealing with Satan. Understand? That's all. That's all you're dealing with. Those are only two spirits in the earth. There's negative and there's positive. You're going to get the Most High Yahushua or Satan. Understand? And that's it. So if you don't want to attain this, what do you want to attain? There's nothing else left. There's nothing else left. And this is what's coming in the earth. That's why it's going to be a big squeeze put on the earth. Which one are you going to follow? Either the Most High Yahushua or the Antichrist. That's what's coming. They're already chipping people. Woman got a chip in the ass. You read about it?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, we supposed to be in the forehead or the hand, but she got a chip in her ass. That's what she got.
Sound like Eve.
Yeah. You know? And she said because she didn't want to lose, it was in Milwaukee somewhere, or Wisconsin somewhere, right? She didn't want to lose her public assistance.
Oh, man.
She didn't want to lose that. So how are they going to come? They're going to come with, if you want to receive public assistance, or Section 8, or food stamps, you got to get chipped. If you want that stuff. Understand? And if you don't get chipped, they're going to take it away from you. Then it's going to be hard for you to eat or buy and sell. Let's say, put it like that. Buy and sell. Yeah, Mike.
Well, here's the thing, when you don't understand the scriptures, let's say you go get the chip. Eventually, all that's going to be cut off anyway.
Cut.
Right.
So now you went and got the chip. You don't have no Section 8.
Right.
You don't have food stamps. Now you got facing the Most High.
It's going to be cut off anyway. Right. So now you got a chip in your behind,
Right.
and it's still cut off.
Right.
So,
That's the main thing. You got to face the Most High.
right.
Out there in the street
Because it's
with no cover.
receiving the mark. So you don't want that thing in you, brother. I hear that it causes health problems. Hard to breathe and all kinds of health problems. So, understand? So you don't want that thing in you. You just got to stand up and be faithful.
Cut.
Understand? You got to stand up and be faithful. So I just want to show that, so we can start with that. But so can a man have more than one wife according to the Bible? See? So, but to understand that, first you must analyze why would the Most High permit a man to have more than one wife? So we just want to go over and show a few scriptures where certain men had more than one wife, and that's Genesis. Let's start from Genesis, the 4th chapter, 19th verse. When you read, this first brother had 2 wives, right? But when you read the scriptures, the Most High, it appeared the Most High permitted men to have more than one wife. All right, you know, and by the law too, not by, you know, that it was something that was men just did on their own, understand, and not, you know, and not understand that it was okay, right? It was comfortable for them to do that, right? And not so much for fornication either. See, brothers think it's just for fornication. I know women think that, right? Sisters would think that, or for lust. It's not just necessarily for lust either, understand? Right? Or not necessarily for luxury either, just to have more than one wife, not necessarily for that either. Okay? But a lot of times it was out of necessity, see, that some men needed more than one wife. Okay? Yeah, you read about others that had more than one wife, you read about in the Bible, and maybe they didn't need that many, but nevertheless, when you read the scriptures, there were certain reasons why the Most High permitted for a man to have more than one wife, because it was out of necessity. So we're going to read some of that. So Genesis 4:19, if we can just read that, Project Brian, read loud.
Reading out of Genesis chapter 4, verse 19. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of the one was Adah, and the name of the other Zillah.
Right. So here go Lamech. Okay. Lamech was Cain's, I think it was Cain's great-grandson. Right? He took 2 wives. All right. Now this is the first time you read that a man in the scriptures, in Genesis, that a man took more than one wife. You read this. All right. He took 2 wives. All right. And read on down up.
And Adah bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle.
Go ahead.
And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ.
Right, okay. So I just want to show you that. Okay, that was Lamech. He had 2 wives. Now, when you go to Genesis 16:1, right, you read about Abraham and Sarah, of course, right? And Abraham had Sarah to wife, but he also had Hagar. Why was it necessary for Abraham to have or be able to get Hagar as another wife? Well, the scripture is going to tell you why. All right? But the Most High allowed it. See? Read that, Cardinal Brian.
Genesis chapter 16, verse 1.
Right.
Now Sarai, Abraham's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar.
Go ahead.
And Sarah said unto Abram, Behold now, the Most High has restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abraham hearkened to the voice of Sarai.
Right. Now, listen to what this is saying. Abram's wife, that's Abraham. Abram is Abraham, right? She was barren. Sarah was barren. Sarah was barren. See? Understand? So now the Spirit got on her to say, well, my handmaid, who is Hagar, an Egyptian woman, let me give my handmaid to Abraham to wife. But why? Because she couldn't bear any children. Now, what if a man today marry a woman and then find out she can't bear any children? Let's say after, a few years into the marriage, they realize, oh, she can't bear any children. Now what? See? But let's say, in his spirit, because that's the nature of man, right, to want children, right? And that's natural, brother, to want children, sons and daughters. That's natural. You're supposed to do that when you get married. The hell you get married for? I mean, I don't understand why people, well, I don't want no kids, but I want a wife. I mean, come on. I mean, what are you doing? That's the Most High. Most High loves that. That's part of the Most High's ability to create. When you have children, the Most High likes to create children. He likes to bring forth children, babies. And that's the Most High's creation. He likes doing that. So if you're going to sit there and have a woman and you ain't going to never have no children, what are you doing? And that's like a selfish type of thing, too. You know what I'm saying?
They said to multiply.
Yeah, it said multiply, right?
Finish the earth.
So now, what's the man supposed to do? I want to know, brother. I want to know. Your wife is barren now, and you want children. Now, what are you supposed to do? Not get another wife? Huh? You tell me. Huh? Adoption? No. Come on, you ain't gonna adopt no Israelite children, brother. Come on. You're not gonna do that, brother. You tell me. So actually, Sarah was thinking spiritual. She was right. Understand?
Wow.
So.
Well, you heard what Sarah said. She said,
yeah.
If you read verse 2, she said that it may be that I may obtain children by her.
Right.
So she's still saying her.
Right. She's still saying her. See? But through
Hagar,
right. But bearing the children. But still, of course, Sarah wants her own. Every woman wants their own. See? All these old surrogate mothers and all that, ain't no woman want that. Understand? See? And that's an abomination anyway.
Right.
You go to some sperm bank, you know what I'm saying? Because your wife is barren, then you go to some sperm bank and get some hoop-de-doo sperm from out of nowhere. You don't know where that thing came from.
Test tube baby.
Huh?
Test tube baby.
Test tube baby. And they're going to put that in your wife. Hopefully it develops. See? Or a surrogate woman. I mean, come on. That's madness. You don't read that in the scriptures, brother. Understand? The actual husband had to go get another wife, understand? And then bear children. Okay, the black woman ain't gonna go there. See? She ain't gonna go for that. But what if that happens? What if you get a woman that you don't realize can have babies and stuff, you marry her thinking she could, now all of a sudden you stop? Now with the Most High, you're not stuck, brother. You're not stuck with the Most High. See? That's why he brings these examples in the scriptures. You're not stuck. See? Understand? So he read that. Read the third verse.
Verse 3. And Sarai, Abraham's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife.
Here you go, Abraham. Here go my handmaid. You can have her. Just, in other words, lay with her. Make her, your wife. It's okay. Yeah. And let her bring forth babies for me. See? And of course, you read the story, she was despised in her eyes, right? Because Hagar realized she can bring forth children, and Sarah couldn't.
Yeah, so it was jealous.
So the jealousy started coming in there. But still, it was permitted by the Most High. Did the Most High tell Abraham, don't do this thing, Abraham? No, he didn't say that. As you can see, it brought forth who? What nation did it bring forth? Ishmael. Right? It brought forth the Ishmaelites. Remember the scripture says Abraham would be a father of many nations. So it brought forth the Ishmaelites. Okay? And then of course, Isaac, the father of the Israelites, came through there. Okay, then read the fourth verse, and then that's it.
Verse 4. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes.
Right. See? So the jealousy started coming in there. See? So here they're up in age now, but she has to go to the Most High. So the Most High did bless her eventually. How old were they? About 99 years of age?
She was about 90.
99? 90?
She was
Yeah.
90 when they
90 when it happened. So the Most High, at the age of 90, see? Can a black woman have a baby now at the age of 90?
She might not be here.
Yeah, she might not be here by 90. Understand? So it goes to show you the shape we were in during that time at 90 years of age. We were healthy, brother. Sarah probably looked like somebody who was 25 years old. Understand what I'm saying? So, and her womb and everything was so, they were healthy, right? So, and they ate the right food. We ate the right food back then. So she was able to deal with the birth and being pregnant at the age of 90 years of age. And the baby come out strong and healthy. Woman have a baby today at 30 years of age, the baby come out, unhealthy, with all kinds of diseases, right? Or sicknesses, because she has it too late. Why women should have babies when they're young? Because the womb is strong. The baby come out healthy. But the women want to wait. They want to wait till they're 45, right? And have a baby. Now the baby come out kind of weak. Okay? Come out with all kinds of, skin deformities and so forth. Because it's kind of weak, unhealthy, right? So the Most High had blessed Abraham. See? And so the jealousy started coming in. Of course, Sarah didn't like it eventually, but still, that was permitted by the Most High because she was barren. There was nothing else that Abraham could do but get another wife. Understand what I'm saying? See? So with a Christian philosophy to one wife and all that, yeah, but read what the scriptures say. It was necessary at times for a man to do it. All right? And now you're going to go to Numbers. Numbers 12 and 10. What about Moses? How many wives did Moses have?
2.
In all actuality, he had 2. Understand? You don't read so much about the other wife, but in all actuality, he had 2. All right. Numbers 12 and 1. Start from the first verse, actually. Start from the first verse.
Numbers chapter 12, verse 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses, because of the Ethiopian woman.
Moses married somebody of another nation. Now, he didn't do this during this time now, so you can understand. Be out in the wilderness, he didn't take on the Ethiopian woman because he knew the law was, Mosai didn't permit that. Understand? So, Quara, get Deuteronomy 7. That's what you said. But the Mosai didn't permit that. So when did he marry the Ethiopian woman?
When he was in the wilderness. Before.
No, not when he was in the wilderness. When did he marry the Ethiopian woman? You read the history? Yeah. Shama.
When he fled out of Egypt, he had to go into...
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
No, not when he fled Egypt. Ben.
When he was a general in the Egyptian army.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right, remember? That's why you gotta read the Josephus, brothers.
Yeah.
See, you might not read that in the scriptures. You gotta read the Josephus. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
He was a general in the Egyptian army. Moses was a high general.
Oh, I know that.
Moses had high status. He would be like a Colin Powell. You know, like Colin Powell was, you know, when that, no, Moses was like that. Led the military and defeated Ethiopia.
Yeah, I know.
Defeated Ethiopia and took the queen for himself.
Oh.
The queen of Ethiopia, he took the queen for himself. See? But you don't read that so much in the scriptures.
The movie didn't show
All you read is all of a sudden about an Ethiopian woman. Well, wait a minute, where'd that come from? You know what I'm saying? That's all you read, right? Well, the other part of the history is in the Josephus. You got to read it. But if you don't read, brothers, that's why we tell you go home and read. But we do tell you to read the Josephus. Bible, of course, the Apocrypha, and some Bibles have the Apocrypha in it, and then the Josephus. And you will read about that. Okay? Moses took this queen of Ethiopia after he defeated the Ethiopians for the Egyptians. See, he was on that level. And he married the woman. All right? So he didn't know his destiny was eventually he'd go flee Egypt and lose all that status. Right? He didn't know that. But, so where was the Ethiopian woman when he fled Egypt?
in Egypt.
Yeah, more than likely she was more likely still there. So when he fled Egypt, of course, he went to land in Midian, okay, met Jethro, married Zipporah, had Gershom, had a couple sons, right? But when the Mosai revealed to him in the bush, okay, that he was going to lead Israel out of captivity, of course, and then he was going to go back to Egypt with the spirit of the Mosai and power of the Mosai, then, of course, he's going to get his wife back when he comes back to deliver Israel out of captivity. He's going to get his wife back, the Ethiopian woman. And she comes out of Egypt in the Exodus with us. See? And we did, and that happened because we had Egyptians came out with us, right? Remember, the strangers came out with us. A few of the strangers came out with us. They were our servants, but they came. They had to serve us, but they came, right? You had your hand up? Okay. So, right? And so what happened? Read the second verse.
Verse 2.
Yeah.
And they said, has the Most High indeed spoken only by Moses? Has he not spoken also by us? And the Most High heard it.
Right. So, of course, Aaron and Miriam upset over the fact that this Ethiopian woman is around, and the law says what? Now read Deuteronomy 7. Read Deuteronomy 7 and 3. Quara.
Got it.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto a son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Most High be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly.
Right. So that's what Aaron and Miriam were talking about, the law. So they're saying, well, Lord, how can Moses have the Ethiopian woman when your law, you state the law says you can't marry them. Can't marry other nations, right? Well, here comes Moses with this Ethiopian, right? So now there's a dilemma now, right? But here's what the Mosai says. Go ahead, the third verse.
Now the man Moses was very meek, above all the men, which were upon the face of the earth.
Moses was the meekest man in the earth. And see, a lot of us take the word meek lightly. But you know what meek is? Understand? Remember, Moses was so meek, he was willing by himself to help all Israel at that time by himself. That's how meek he was. I don't think I could do that. I'm like, nigga, you better get out of here. Them problems you got. You know what I'm saying? Better go to the Most High. I'm not handling. You understand what I'm saying?
Come.
He was willing by himself to handle each and every, the big problems, small problems, intermediate problems, by himself. That's meek, brother. That's patience and meekness and humble, everything. By himself. Until Jethro said, man, you're going to kill yourself.
Come.
You better get some help. And then he realized, that was Spirit of Most High, he realized he had to hire or get 70 officers on his level to help him. And even that wasn't enough. I'm sure that wasn't enough, brother. Look at Israel now, all the problems you got.
Right.
See, even Yahushua said, 12 disciples wasn't enough. He hired, what, 70 more, remember? That's almost come back in reincarnation, those 70. 70 more, remember? But Yahushua said, what is impossible with man is possible with the Most High. The 70 looked around and said, I'm getting out of here. And they had spiritual problems, some of them. And they fled Yahushua. They fled, they took off. See? So he turned around to the 12 and said, you going to leave me also? You going to leave me by myself to deal with all this? See? So to show you that it's a lot of work. If you're not willing to work, brother, and labor in this, you better leave now. That's what's coming, work. See? But the work is glory. It's glorified work. It's good work. Understand what I'm saying?
Come.
It's work you're going to love doing. It's building your nation. I would do that. Then go work for Esau. Or be a $25 million slave. Understand yet, Ben?
That's why Yahushua said the harvest is plenteous,
Right.
but the laborers are few.
The laborers are few. No laborers, brother. Brother, we're going to get the kingdom, but you still got to work for it. You still got to work. See? And you're not going to get no reward if you don't work, brother. So that's why brothers are in and out, in and out, in and out, because they just want the reward, but not the work. It doesn't work that way. Esau ain't going to pay you for doing nothing. So why would the Most High pay you for doing nothing? See? That's why he said in the last days, then they say, Lord, Lord, and do not what I say. See? Depart from me. You're a worker of iniquity. You're not doing, if you are doing works, you're not doing it the right way or appropriate way. How about that? So you gotta, not only do you gotta work, but it has to be appropriate. Can't be evil and wickedness and against brotherhood and so forth. Understand? So as we continue, read the 4th verse.
And the Most High spoke suddenly unto Moses, and unto Aaron, and unto Miriam. Come out, ye three, unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out.
How about that? Come out, ye three. Now these three were on a high level. Even Miriam, she was Moses' sister. How about that? She was on a high level. Most I was dealing with her too, on a certain level. That's a high position. Understand? So he said, these three, come on out here. Come on out. This ain't the Most High's calling you out. And you scared as hell, aren't you? Understand? The Most High, come here. Understand? You scared. Because they don't know what's going to happen. See?
That's right. They've seen a lot of stuff go on.
They don't know what's going to come in. You three, come in for a minute. Okay, go ahead, up.
And the Most High came down in the pillar of the cloud, and stood in the door of the tabernacle.
I would have been scared, brother. Now the Most High comes down. See, because he said, I'm going to speak to Moses, see, apparently. That's what he said. Like face to face, apparently. Not in parables, not in visions, but I'm going to speak to him.
Directly.
Yeah, directly. That's a high level, brother. Look, the creator of heaven and earth. Understand? Go ahead, he said to that, like, go the spirit of an angel, but it was the Most High, and that angel coming down, understand? More like probably Yahushua.
Huh.
It was representing the Most High. When Yahushua comes down, brother, that's the Most High comes down. You gotta understand it. I don't think people understand it. That's the Most High coming down. The Most High can't bring himself down because he's too big. So he got to bring his angels, representatives, Yahushua, understand? So when Yahushua comes down, that's the Most High coming down. You got to think about that. When I send my son to do something, I'm sending really myself, but it's my son. See? So he came down that tabernacle, right? And called, go ahead up.
And the Most High came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth.
Scared as hell. Go ahead up.
And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Most High, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and I will speak unto him in a dream.
See what he said? A prophet I will make known to him in vision and speak to him in a dream. And that's a high level. See? That's what we're dealing with pretty much now. And that's a high level, brother. The Most High speak to you in a dream or in a vision, then that's the Most High coming to you in a dream. That's a high level. A lot of people, a lot of people in the world wish that would happen to them. And it doesn't. But it happens to brothers, right, in the truth. But this is what he said about Moses now. Go ahead, Up.
My servant Moses is not so.
No, not my servant Moses. I'm not going to come to him in no vision or no dream. I'm not coming to Moses that way. See? But how am I going to come to Moses? Go ahead.
Who is faithful in all mine house.
Moses was the most faithful amongst all Israel. His house is Israel, right? And the earth. The most faithful. Moses was like up there with Yahushua. He was up there on that level, almost like with Yahushua. Understand? I mean, you pretty much got the Most High, Yahushua, Moses. Understand? It's pretty much like that. When you really look at it. Moses was on that level. Go ahead, Up.
With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches.
See? Now here we getting dark speeches, right? Us here. And that's a high level.
Parables.
Parables. We got to figure it out. The Most High wants to work for it and figure it out. He's going to give it to us, but you got to work. Right?
No, Moses straight up.
But not Moses. It was straight out. Moses. Here's the deal. Boom, 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 boom. See? And go tell Israel. And he was what the Most High told him. He told Israel the same thing. Exact same thing. There's no, you know what I'm saying, straying away from the words of the Most High. It was the exact same thing. See? Moses, here go the tablets, Moses. Here go the tablets, Moses. This is the words I wrote with my own finger. Now go tell Israel this. And he wrote it with Most High, wrote it with his finger, right? And then Moses carried it down. Here go the word. Thou shalt not, see, make any gods before me. Understand? Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not covet. Thou shalt not steal, and so forth, and the Ten Commandments. And he spoke it apparently and gave it to him. And then he gave it to Israel the same way. Okay. But now, the prophets, they had to get it some other kind of way. Understand? So Moses was on a higher level. Go ahead, Al.
And the similitude of the Most High shall he behold. Wherefore then, were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses?
Yeah, see? But first, what's the similitude of the Most High?
Image.
Yeah. Is the Most High really showing his face and everything? No, he's not really showing his face, but he is showing a similitude, an image of himself. He came down in the cloud. See? Understand? And we had years ago a brother seen an image of a body in a hurricane. Remember that? Yeah. We seen an image of a body. You could tell it was a body. And of course the face wasn't shown, but you could tell it was a brother. You could tell that, right? And I forgot what hurricane it was.
I think it was the one before Katrina.
No, this was even
Years
further.
ago?
Yeah, years ago.
Oh,
I'm talking about back
okay.
probably in the early 90s, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the brother had an image of, we say it was Yahweh. And it was in the cloud, but you could see the image of a man. So this is the things like Moses seen. But not the face, but he seen the image of a man. See? Understand? And it was talking to him. See? So that's the level Moses was on. And they weren't afraid to talk to Moses that way. See? When the Moses said, this is my servant, above everybody on earth. Go ahead, Up.
And the anger of Moses was kindled against them, and he departed.
Yeah, Moses was angry. Mad.
That's why God doesn't get angry.
Right,
He loves
right.
everybody.
Yeah, see, these are scriptures you got to remember, brother. See? It was kindled against them. See? The anger of the Most High was kindled against them. Go ahead, Up.
And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow.
Yeah, see? So you know when the Most High is anger and he departed from him, something was going to happen after that. Most High wasn't going to leave and nothing happened. See? So something was going to happen after that. So he got mad at Miriam for running her mouth too much against the Most High's chosen. Understand? Against the Most High's chosen. Now, I don't see anything happen to Aaron here this time, but remember Aaron's sons got,
That incense.
yeah, they burnt the wrong incense, and the Most High burnt them to a crisp. So, yeah, so, you know, it could have been for that, you know, but whatever. But nevertheless, they burnt the wrong incense. It was basically because they did something wicked. But nevertheless here, the Most High turned Miriam leprous. Of course, that's a lack of pigmentation. He took her pigment from her. See, where it says white as snow. So Miriam, all of a sudden, with dark skin, now she's looking like an Edomite, running around, running about. See? So I bet you shut up then, right? You got leprosy on you, brother. That shuts you up completely. See? When all of a sudden you look and see a dark skin, and all of a sudden now you look like, you know,
The whole body.
your whole body. That's a terrifying curse. It's not just, you know, you got a little sickness with it. That's a terrifying curse. Because you look yourself in the mirror and you see something. You ever seen Lil' Kim now? Anybody see Lil' Kim?
Yeah.
God,
She looks like a monster.
like a,
She's not the same.
she's a Barbie doll.
She added demonic spirits to herself. You see it? You can look at her and see it.
Yeah.
So, because you look completely different. You know what I'm saying? Like Michael Jackson didn't look like little Michael, he looked completely different. The demon took completely over.
Like the Joker.
Why would you do that to yourself? Doesn't make any sense. So, this is how Miriam looked. So that's why Moses said, Lord, please turn her back to being dark. I can't even look at it.
Yes. And melanin is a major factor in the whole makeup because when you lose melanin, you look older.
Right.
Everything changes in the whole
Changes.
body structure without that melanin.
Can they say Michael look, what's the word they call it? You look like you're almost dead. Got the word.
Emaciated?
Yeah, emaciated, right. That's how you look, like a bag of bones.
Oh.
I mean, come on. Say, look. And so he's probably pretty much on his way out. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. That was, you know, because he just didn't look right. Yeah, something like that. I wouldn't have that coming to my house. That's Michael Jackson. No thing. I don't want you in my house. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want that. You want somebody with leprosy coming to your house? No, it just doesn't, you know. I mean, I know a lot of our people have, you know, what they call albinos, you know, and they probably have, some of them have the curse on them, right?
Well, really?
And where it came on later in life. See? Came on later in life. They were born dark-skinned and everything, but then later on in life, here comes this leprosy. What happened? See? So that's a curse from the Most High. Understand? So, but when you do it to yourself, I mean, that's you cursing yourself? Leprosy? Bleaching your skin?
Yeah, it's a lot more.
See? That's madness. And that's what Lil Kim did. Of course, Michael Jackson and other people are doing it. It's madness. But this is what the Most High gave Miriam. That's terrifying, brother. See? So what did Moses say, the 11th verse?
And we finish 10 years.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. Verse 11. And Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my power, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned.
So what is he saying here?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but what is really Moses saying? He said, lay not the sin upon us. So what is leprosy?
Sin.
Curse.
Yeah, it's a curse for what? For sin. Yeah. That's what it's really a curse because you sin. Understand?
Yeah.
So he said, don't lay that curse upon us, sin upon us, when we have done foolishly, where we have sinned. It's a curse of sin.
And then when you have that leprosy, everybody know that was a curse.
That was a curse of sin. Something you did, right?
And they're like, whoa, don't touch me.
Don't touch me. Don't come around my house. Right? You're not taking my daughter out. Leave my son alone. See? Yeah, Mike.
Also, it's like you were saying, sometimes there's clean leprosy with your whole body.
That's
It's
Esau.
red, but sometimes you also have this monster that I've seen.
Yeah.
This girl, beautiful, dark, another Quran about
Yeah.
flesh and dog. They have leprosy around the
He
eyes,
started getting it, right?
On
around
the
the
lips.
mouth, and around the ears like a ring.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate curse.
Right. That's the ultimate curse, brother. So, thank the Most High. And we all have sinned, right? But the Most High didn't give us that, But some of us are people the Most High do give it, right? So this is what Miriam got. Go ahead, Op.
Let not her be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he cometh out of his mother's womb.
So what is he doing here? What is Moses saying here? He's describing what?
Leprosy.
Yeah, what leprosy looks like. See? See?
Wow.
So if you can't see that, that's Esau in the world, the so-called white man.
Come.
See? But do the preachers teach this? No, they stay away from this because they know they gotta describe it. And next thing you know, they're describing Esau. And then all of a sudden, they realize, this man got it. See? And that would go against their Christian philosophy. Understand? So he described it looks like somebody whose flesh is half consumed. When the baby comes out, the skin color isn't all the way in yet. So they have this, what looks like leprosy at first. Right? And when he's coming out of his mother's womb. So that's what Moses is describing. He's describing what leprosy is. And of course, then you read it again in Leviticus 13th chapter. Right? About leprosy.
Yeah, there's also these skin is like scaly looking.
Scaly, yeah.
It doesn't, it's like the flesh is not, smooth.
Esau's a sick bastard. He's sick. See? His skin looks like a pig.
Reptilian.
Yeah, huh?
A reptilian.
A reptilian. See, and our people want to marry that and think that's on some kind of high level. And they don't know what they're really getting into. Because when a man lay with a white woman, he's really, receiving all that. It weakens him. It weakens the spirit, weakens him. Understand? It's almost like I say, kryptonite, right? It weakens him.
Like she got it.
Yeah, it's kryptonite. Esau knows that. That's why he flaunts his white woman around his black athletes. He knows it. Understand? So stay with your woman, the Israelite woman. Okay?
And most of them deal with a yellow-head white chick too.
Yeah. Understand? So that was it on that. So the understanding of all that is that the Most High was mad with Aaron and Miriam because they came against Moses for marrying the Ethiopian woman. All that happened because they came up against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman. See? And so the Most High, did he say anything to Moses about the Ethiopian woman? No. He allowed it, right? He allowed the Ethiopian woman, he allowed him to marry her at this time. Understand? So if the Most High allowed it, then it was nothing wrong with it. Understand? Plus, he had married her before anyways. Yeah.
And then they were being willingly ignorant too.
Right.
Because they knew Moses was separated from them living in the life
Right.
of the Egyptian. He
Right.
wasn't part of the
He wasn't
immediate
part,
family.
so right.
He was separated from them in the luxury living the Egyptian lifestyle. So they should have known that. Then after that, when he fled out of Egypt, he was an exile for another 40 years.
He was still in exile,
So
right,
they-
separated.
So
right.
they were willingly being ignorant
Right,
to the
that's
fact
right.
of early way down. So that's why the Most High
That's
jacked
why
them
he
too.
did it.
Because they knew better.
Because he knew in their mind was probably jealousy. It's always jealousy with Israel. When you read the history, it's always jealousy. When the Most High was making David king, his brothers were jealous.
True.
See, I mean, you don't read some of the things that, but his brothers were jealous. Understand? David said something about it later on, but they were like kind of upset. Like, why are you choosing our baby brother
Baby brother, right.
over us? I've been in the military for 10 years. I'm capable. Mosiah said, no. Samuel was telling him, no, it ain't you. He want me to do. See? So, it was jealousy, understand? So, and then now go to Genesis 29:16. Right? Genesis 29:16. I just want to give you an understanding why it's necessary for some men to have more than one wife. Genesis 29:16. Crowds a lot, Ryan.
Okay.
Okay, concerning Jacob, right? And Jacob had 4 wives. Why was it necessary the Most High give Jacob 4 wives? Well, we'll read some of that, not the whole thing. Some of it. Go ahead.
Read out Genesis chapter 29, verse 16. And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored.
Right, see, tender-eyed, right, Leah, but Rachel was beautiful, okay? Of course, the Israelite woman was beautiful, beautiful back then, right? Okay, go ahead, Al.
And Jacob loved Rachel, and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter.
Jacob loved Rachel. That's all he wanted was Rachel. He only wanted Rachel. And she was beautiful. A man loves nothing more than a beautiful woman, right? So she was the beautiful one, right? And I bet Leah was beautiful too, but she was just, Jacob favored Rachel, right? So he was willing to work 7 years for this woman, bro. See? You brothers can't wait a month. Man, first date, he was willing to work 7 years. Would you work 7 years for women? By the first 6 months, you'd be out there, Laban, I'm out. I ain't waiting for no 7 years. There's another woman down the street that want me now. 7 years, brother. Think 7 years. And he had to work. It wasn't no like
Hard labor.
Yeah, hard labor. He had to work. See? Yeah.
But in all fairness, the Most High was involved in that.
Yeah. The Most High was involved. Yeah.
That's why he waited 7 years.
Yeah.
He knew what he wanted also.
He knew what he wanted. Right. Okay, go ahead, Al.
And Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel. And they seemed unto him but a few days. For the love he had to her.
Now, Laban was his uncle, correct. That was
His mother's son,
Rebecca's
brother.
brother. Correct. Okay, so you can understand, right? So now some of you say, but now he's married his uncle's daughter. Well, yeah, back then the Most High allowed that.
That was his cousin here.
Yeah, yeah. Most High allowed that because the nation wasn't really formed. All right, the nation wasn't formed, so the closeness of the marriages back then took place so the nation can be formed. On our actuality, they're supposed to marry your cousin. Understand? But back then the Most High allowed it. So you gotta understand that too. All right, go ahead, Al.
And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her.
Yeah, going unto her means what?
Sleep with her.
Right. You understand that? It means sleep with her. But he said, give me my wife. claiming her as his wife. He didn't sleep with her yet. See? He didn't sleep with her yet. Jacob knew somewhere that the Most High showed him, that's my wife. There ain't nobody gonna stop me from getting her.
Right, he was already promised to
It was already promised to him. He knew it. So that's why he's willing to work so long, because he knew it. See? And he didn't lay with her, but he was calling Rachel, Raquel, his wife already. See? Understand? So go ahead, huh?
And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to him. And he went in unto her.
Well, somehow Laban made this feast, and somehow deceived him, somehow made Leah look like Rachel or whatever. Somehow deceived him. I don't know how he can not know that's not Rachel, but it happened.
Spike his drink.
Spiked his drink or something, got him a little tipsy or something.
Some concoction.
Yeah, and maybe she had a veil on, you know what I'm saying? And that was it was sisters, so they might look something alike, see? So, you know, and like Mike said, the Most High wanted this to happen, you know. See, because the Most High really wanted him to have Leah too. See? And you're going to see why later on. Go ahead, Al. Yeah.
It's ironic, I was going over the same thing this week.
Oh, he was? Yeah.
And what I see, what the Most High planned was Leah and Jacob.
Yeah.
But Jacob wanted Rachel, but the Most High never have Rachel there.
Right.
So the Most High have Jacob and Leah, just like
Right. You know why? Yeah.
A wife ain't destined for you, but
Yeah.
you want a wife.
You want who you want, right.
Exactly. So,
And Leah, of course, was
The oldest.
the elder.
The oldest.
So,
But that's where Laban came.
yeah. So, right. And because he should have married the eldest, the Most High had it where, okay, you want Rachel, but I'm gonna have Laban deceive you so you can get Leah too. And so he had to,
even his sixth son was a blessing that Leah gave him.
yeah.
And then too, the custom of Laban and them, how was the younger going to get married?
Right.
The elder?
Before the elder. Right.
She should have to get a husband before.
That's a good point.
If
Right.
she is all these years older and the younger one getting
Right.
married before the elder,
That's how Laban looked at
it's
it.
going to
Right.
like, wait a minute, my older have to be married first before
Right.
the younger one.
That's how Laban looked at it.
Right.
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 So he seemed it was like kind of like fair, you know. Take my
It was just.
yeah, it was just. That's what he looked at, you know. So you know, all Jacob was like, I already want who I want. Don't deceive me. That's what I want. So go ahead, Al.
And it came to pass, and Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah for maid of a handmaid.
About that. So now Laban is giving Zilpah the handmaid of Leah. How about that? See? So now he's gonna get Rachel, Leah, Zilpah. Okay, understand?
And full.
Right. See, the Most High is gonna bless him with that. Okay, go ahead. Al.
And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this thou hast done unto me? Did not I serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? And Laban said, it must not be so done in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn.
Yeah, that's what he was thinking. Let the firstborn get married first, then you can have the younger.
That's the custom. That was the custom.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou hast served with me yet another
Fulfill a
7
week,
years.
like, you know, be with her for a week. See? Fulfill a week with her. And we will give thee this also for the service. Okay? Okay? And which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years. See? Because now he's gonna serve another 7 years for Rachel.
Right.
He gonna give him Rachel, but he got to serve, make the agreement, and he gonna serve 7 more years. Who would do that? Because you know, Jake, once you get your wife, you gone. See? But of course, that was the agreement.
You wanted Rachel.
Right. Go ahead, Al.
Well, he did. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also.
Go ahead.
And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Belial, Bilhah, his handmaid to be her maid.
Go ahead.
And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years.
Right, okay, so now, we don't want to read this whole thing, but we know, of course, the history. The 12 sons came out of these 4 wives, okay? 4 wives being Rachel, Leah, Bilhah, and Zilpah, right? These are the 4 wives. So why was it necessary for Jacob to have 4 wives? Because he was going to bring forth the 12 tribes, 12 sons, which make up the nation of Israel. See? By necessity. So the Most High worked that all in there like that. Understand?
And
Yeah.
also out of that too, there came a diversity of the tribes in that too.
The tribes, yeah. How about that?
Because all that had different shades of color too,
Right.
out of that, different texture of
Right.
hair. But in the overall, we all had the woolly hair.
Right.
But it's different textures.
Different
came out of
textures
that
and
too.
different, yeah.
Because remember, these handmaids were not Israelites.
Right.
They were different from Hebrew families.
Hebrew families, correct. So you understand that?
Yeah.
So out of necessity. So a man can have more than one wife, as you read in the scriptures, but out of necessity, the Most High made it happen. See? So that's why when you read the laws of the Most High, you got to understand why the Most High made certain things happen. In the Christian world, they'll say, no, a man can have more than one wife. But when you read in the Old Testament, you read about it. But why? They never go into why. See? Christian world never go into why. Of course, that's because they're dealing with Satan's doctrine, and they go contrary to the Most High. Understand? So that's what you see in the world now.
I brought
Yeah.
in that verse right up here
Yeah.
in the 30th verse, right?
Yeah.
You read it, right? It said, and he went in also unto Rachel,
Right.
and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 years, right?
Uh-huh.
So by him being denied of Rachel, he put more compassion and flavor
Yeah.
into Rachel when he really got her for. He said, man, for all these years,
Yeah.
I'm really going
How about that? Right. How about that? So he put more spirit into dealing with Rachel after all those years of not having her.
He really love her up. Really love her up.
How about that? Right. So, yeah, I mean, a man can have more than one wife and love one more than the other. I mean, that happens. Yeah. And there's a law for that. We'll go into that too. There's a law for that. Understand? Okay, we'll show you that. But now get Judges 8:29. Judges 8:29.
The phrase is righteous man cannot know more.
Yeah, righteous man. How about that? You're right about that.
That is the biggest of the thing.
Right. Okay, Karakallah Brian, we're going to move kind of fast. Verse 8.
Judges chapter 8, verse 29. And Jerubbaal, the son of Joash, went and dwelt in his own house. And Gideon had 70 sons of his body begotten, for he had many
He
wives.
had many wives. Gideon, of
70
course,
sons.
when you read the history about Gideon, he was in the war with Deborah, right? And the Most High won that war through Deborah and Gideon, right? And Gideon was the one who the Most High said there were 20-some-odd thousand of Israelite soldiers,
Ended up being 3.
right? And the Most High told Gideon, there's too many for you, right? So he said, the ones go over by the lake or the river there, whatever, and have them drink water. The ones that lap like a dog, those are the ones you want. The ones that didn't, send them home. Only 300 were left. Only 300 men out of thousands and thousands that came out to fight the war. Most I said, I only need 300. And of course, they got movies about that, the 300, right? But Gideon, he was a military officer the Most High chose. But look how many wives he had. Well, it doesn't say, but he had many wives. How many sons?
7.
It says 70 sons. You think one woman can bring forth 70 men? So he needed many wives to bring him forth, right? Understand? Okay, and he also had concubines too. See? So I just want to show you that. Now get 1 Samuel, the 1st chapter. First Samuel, the 1st chapter. See, so we're just showing you, and then we're going to bring it to the New Testament to show you what Yahushua said, okay, the scriptures, okay, whether Yahushua said a man should have more than one wife or not. See? But we have to bring it up to date, and then to show you how and compare it to what the Old Testament says about man having more than one wife, and what's going to happen in the kingdom. See? 1 Samuel 1 and 1. Start from there.
1 Samuel 1 and 1. Now there was a certain man of Ramathaim Zophim of Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jehoram, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zup, and Ephraimite, Ephratite. And he had 2 wives.
How many wives he had?
He had 2 wives.
Okay, go ahead.
The name of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other was Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hananiah had no children.
Right. All right, so who was Elkanah? And he had the 2 wives. And who did Hannah have? Can you read eventually?
Samuel.
She had Samuel. All right, the prophet Samuel. What tribe was Samuel?
Levi.
It was Levite. So Elkanah had to be a Levite. All right? Understand? But he had 2 wives. One was barren and one had children. As you can see, a little bit of jealousy there as you read on down. Same thing. It's always that jealousy, right? Because that's a woman's thing, to have children. If she can't have children, you know. You know what I'm saying? What else can a woman look forward to? She gotta, her desire is to have a man to have children. That's her desire. If a woman don't want to do that, it's a curse on her. How you not gonna want to have children? I don't want no kids. See? Now you're gonna live that old vain vanity type life. You know, come on. So Hannah wanted children. So she was barren. But this brother had 2 wives. And Samuel came forth because she went to the temple. And since they were diligent in the temple and praying and everything, this particular day, as you read the story, we're not going to read the whole thing, she was praying. And the priest, Eli, he seen her praying. And she was praying, moving her mouth, but no sound coming out. No sound coming out. So he said, well, what the hell's wrong with you? You crazy? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Were you crazy or something? Who does that? But people do that, right? So she said no, she was just praising the Most High and praying. Okay? And then, of course, the Most High blessed her eventually, and Samuel came. Greatest prophet, one of the greatest prophets of all Israel, right? He's up there with Moses. That's about it. Think about it. He's up there with Moses. He couldn't live amongst the people. He couldn't because his spirit was too high. Understand? Live amongst the people who got corrupted. He had to live away from the people. So when he seen him coming, of course, Samuel being probably tall and big, and they wondering whether he's coming for war or peace. They had to look and say, oh, what is he coming down for? They know the only reason why Samuel would come is to prophesy. So. That's the only reason why. Other than that, Samuel wasn't coming. Okay, here comes Samuel. Something's about to happen. We know it because here he comes. Something drastic is going to happen. See? So that means the Most High preserved him and put him away amongst the people. That's a high level, bro.
That's the set apart.
Yeah, set apart. Yeah.
Right. Remember, he was there in South Park too.
Yeah, he was there.
That was the experience for the
Yeah.
congregation. The last time he was here, saw dead. Is David gonna die or something like that?
Right. And he had to anoint David and everything. See? So Hannah had a special child, right? So, but this, his father, Samuel's father, had the 2 wives. I was going to show you that you had men had more than 1 wife. Now get 2 Chronicles 13:21. Real fast. 2 Chronicles 13:21.
Now 2 Chronicles chapter 13, verse 21. But Abiah waxed mighty and married 14 wives,
Oh boy. Go ahead.
and begot 22 sons and 16 daughters.
Wow. This brother had 14 wives. Okay? And he was I think it was Rehoboam's son. Yeah, Rehoboam's son. Okay? Because Rehoboam had many wives too. Okay, King Rehoboam. But this is Abijah. Right? And he had, matter of fact, Rehoboam had 18 wives. King Rehoboam, I ain't gonna read all those, but you can look it up. King Rehoboam had 18 wives. And 80 concubines. But just turn the page and go to the 11th chapter, Karaz Labrine,
Right.
and go to the 21st verse.
Okay, 2 Chronicles chapter 11 and what, 23rd?
21st verse.
21st verse. And Rehoboam loved Maacah, the daughter of Absalom, above all his wives and his concubines. For he took 18 wives and 80 concubines.
How many is that?
60.
So he had 18 wives of Israel
78.
and 60 concubines.
78.
Yeah. See? Listen, what's wrong with these brothers? Can't get enough? You know, some men are satisfied with 1 or 2. Some men, they need, 60 or whatever. You know, I mean, what can I tell you? Tell a lion how many lions he should get. If he, some lions end up with maybe 3 or 4, but some have 6 or 7 or 8. You understand? Every man is different.
You have a mansion.
Yeah. Right.
When I look at Mr. Barak, he was just fulfilling the law.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like in Genesis 1, fruitful and multiply.
Yeah. Be fruitful and multiply. And he had how many sons, Colonel Librarian? 20.
And he begot 28 sons.
28 sons, brother.
And 60 daughters, huh?
Right, 60 daughters. So he was kind of busy.
100 kids. Wow.
He was kind of busy, man.
Wow.
And he had 80 concubines.
He was kind of busy,
He
huh?
had 80 daughters, right?
Yeah.
60 daughters.
That's almost 90 kids.
That's almost 100 kids.
Yeah, so that was like a nation unto himself. But look at what he did with all his children. Now read the 22nd verse.
22nd or 23rd?
22nd.
Oh. And Rehoboam made Abijah, the son of Maacah, the chief.
Remember, he was the king we just read before that, right? He became king after Rehoboam. But Rehoboam, when he was king, made his son Abijah the chief. Go ahead, ruler. Go ahead, up.
To be ruler among his brethren for the thought to make him king.
Right. See, and he did become king. Okay? Now listen to what he did, 23rd verse.
And he dealt wisely and dispersed of all his children throughout all the countries of Judah and Benjamin unto every fenced city, and he gave them victual and in abundance, and he desired many wives.
Right. But the scripture, he dealt wisely with them. See? He dispersed his children all throughout Israel.
Right.
See? And that was because in his kingdom, he wanted his children as princesses to rule. Right. That was a wise thing. So did the Most High say, don't have all these wives? But he had to deal wisely with them, right? He had to deal wisely with them. Now we're going to give some examples when you don't do wisely.
I said, bro,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this wasn't for every single man.
It wasn't.
It was only for certain men that the Most High destined that to happen
Yeah.
for a particular reason.
Yeah, good point, yeah. Right, because you may say, well, how come all other men didn't have that? Because it wasn't meant for that to happen. The Most High will distribute to you, every man, what he will, understand? So when David had what he had, and Solomon had what he had, but that's the Most High, see? And his brother had what he had. That's the Most High,
But
yeah.
then just like when Israel went to war, if you brought back the women, they were going to be your wives.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it says that.
And we're going to get some of those laws, right?
That's a lot.
No, that's right. We're going to get some of those laws. That's why we got to hurry up. And then get 1 Kings 11. First Kings 11:1. And we know about Solomon, right? What I tell you what, before you do that, since you're in Chronicles, in Chronicles 3:1. First Chronicles 3:1, real fast. First Chronicles 3:1.
Now, First Chronicles chapter 3, verse 1.
And then Quara get 1 Kings 11:1. 1 Kings 11:1. Go ahead, Brother LeBron, read that.
Now these were the sons of David, which were born unto him in Hebron, the firstborn Amnon of Ahinoam.
So now you're going to read the son and the wife that he had the son by, or the son's by. You understand? And you'll count about 7 wives here. Okay? Go ahead.
Ahiman, the Jezreelitess, the second Daniel of Abigail, the Carmeltress, the third Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur, the fourth Adoniah, the son of Haggith, the fifth Shephatiah of Abital, the sixth Ithrim by Eglah, his wife. These 6 were born unto him in Hebron, and there he reigned 7 years and 6 months. And in Jerusalem he reigned 30 and 3 years.
Go ahead.
And these were born unto him in Jerusalem: Shemiah, and Shabbat, and Nathan, and Solomon, 4 of Bathshua.
That's Bathsheba.
That's what the Bathsheba. But
Yeah.
Bathshua, the daughter of Amiel.
Yeah.
Abahar also, and Elishama, and Eliphalet, and Nagab, and Nepheg, and Japhian, and Elishama, and Eliada, and Eliphalet, 9. These were all sons of David, besides the sons of the concubines and Tamar, their sister.
Right, see? So now when you read that, you'll read about 7 wives there. David had about 20 kids, 19, 20 children. Right? And then he had, of course, the scriptures say about 10 concubines. See? This was David. And when David sinned, what did the Most High tell David? He said, David, why did you do that? Huh? If you needed more wives, I would have given you more wives. Yeah. But why did you go and sleep with another man's wife? Why did you do that? Because he already had 7 wives, 10 concubines. So why would you take another man's wife, see, and commit adultery? When all you do is ask me, I would have given you more. That's what the Most High was saying.
He knew the Most High wasn't going to give him to her.
Yeah, right. He wanted her particularly. See?
Like Jacob.
Right. So, but still, but the Most High said David was a man after his own heart, except for the adultery thing. But everything else, David was a man after the Most High's heart. See? Even his 7 wives and 10 concubines. Yes, bro. Yeah.
And what I also proved too, that shows you that the more you increase and become famous and the greater you are, the more the temptation is.
More the temptation.
Because that's where the temptation came in, to move him
Yeah.
to see if he was going to act on that temptation. He did act on it through
Yeah.
lust.
Yeah.
And that's where your trials comes in. So
That's
the
where
greater you
trials-
are, you have to check yourself more.
That's
and more.
right.
Come.
You're right. You're right.
Ben,
Because
David was just wicked.
Not in a sense. It said, that's it. The greater you are,
Right.
the more the temptations come to you.
right, and why is that? That's because Satan is standing there too, tempting you.
Come.
When you're a novice, when you're new in it, you know, yeah, Satan's gonna tempt you, but not as much as somebody who's on a higher level in a greater position. Because Satan got to work on that man in that great position more so to knock him out.
And that's where it was about.
Yeah, to destroy the structure, the family structure, and the organization and everything, to destroy it. Satan's main goal is to destroy Israel. So he's gonna come after the ones who's in position more so than the ones who are in the lower position. And so he got tempted and fell into it. See? But everything else, he was pretty much faithful in, understand, except for that. And so now Solomon, as you read Quara 11:1, 1 Kings 11:1, read that.
We're at 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, woman of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonites, and Hittites,
Who are these people?
other nations.
Other nations, right. Edomites,
Esau.
so-called
Gentiles.
white folk. White woman he had. King Solomon had a bunch of white women. Okay? Ammonites,
Chinese, Japanese.
yeah, Japanese, right? Moabites, Chinese,
Chinese.
right? Zidonians, Hamites, Hittites, more Hamites.
Like,
King Solomon had an array of women, brother. He had an array of them, okay? But that was a problem. That turned out to be a problem for King Solomon. See?
come.
You understand? No matter what you do, these nations still have that spirit in them of to do what they to their own God, to do what their culture is.
Come.
It's still in them. Understand? I don't care how many times what you do when you marry them and how much you convince them of the Bible or all that, they still have it in them because that's who they are.
Come.
See?
Come.
Their culture is their culture. Their nation is their nation. They're gonna worship their gods. So go ahead up.
Of the nations concerning which the Most High said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go in to them, neither shall they come in unto you. For surely they will turn away your heart after other gods,
After their God.
after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. And he had 700
He
wives.
has 700 wives. These are women of the nation of Israel, right? They're considered your wife. Okay, wives. Right? 700.
Took the whole child.
So was Solomon capable of dealing with 700? Obviously he was. See? Obviously he was. He's capable. And we're talking about in knowledge and in wisdom and in ability, physical ability and everything. He was capable. Understand? And as far as finance, economics, of course he's capable of taking care of them. Correct?
Come.
Are we capable now of taking care of all that?
No.
I can't do it. Physically, it'll kill you. Economically, you can't afford it. See? And so, and then as far as knowledge and wisdom, brothers don't have the knowledge to deal with two wives. You can't deal with yourself, Harper. Think about it. You have a trouble dealing with yourself, not knowing another woman and then two women. Some brothers are capable, some brothers are capable, but most brothers aren't.
700, that's a whole,
Yeah, 700, forget it.
that's a whole city.
Solomon was on that level, bro. Remember, the Most High gave Solomon wisdom and knowledge. He didn't ask for riches. He said, give me wisdom to deal with the people. The Most High gave it to him. And then, like Ben was saying, it tempted him. He said, let me go see what sin is about. Solomon said that.
Yeah.
He said, let me go see what folly is about. Let me see why man sins. Let me try sin out. That's what he said. Solomon didn't just go into sin and not know what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. He wanted to try it out because he wanted to see why men would sin and what their reasonings were for going into sin. That's on a high level, isn't it? Solomon said the Most High showed him the beginning of time, the midst of time, and the end of time. See? Solomon was able to speak to demons and angels and everything.
Animals.
And animals, plants, everything. Oh, his wisdom was far above anybody on this earth. See? So was he able to deal with a woman? Yeah. If he can talk to an animal and get the animal to obey him, he can talk to a woman and say, come in. And probably not say a word. Just look at it. See? So it was on that level. See? So he was able to deal with them. See? But Satan was always there, right? Right? Okay, and he said, finish that Korah, just the third verse.
And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, Salakia. And his wives turned away his heart.
Right. So we know the story that the other woman of other nations turned away his heart eventually as he got older. Right? Temptation increased as he got older. See, remember Satan, all he got is time. He's gonna get you eventually if you're not circumspect. See? So you're in a great position, but you still got to be circumspect. Understand? Because Satan is just sitting there waiting. I'm gonna wait till he slips. See? And as soon as you slip up, Satan is right there.
You put the banana peel around there.
Yeah, put it right under his foot. Especially after he said, when you read in Ecclesiastes about, let me see what foolishness is about and sin is about. Well, Satan's there still. You go in there to see what it's about. Satan is there.
Let me clear my throat.
Right. So Satan said, you want to see what sin is about? Okay, I'm sure. See? And then there you go. See? So, okay, and that's it on that one, right? Deuteronomy 17:17, very quick. Prophet Abraham, Deuteronomy 17:17.
Did I say something, Barb?
Yeah, go ahead.
The scripture we just read.
Yeah.
I think some of his wives was Gentile.
Some of his wives were Gentiles with them?
One of them at least was Egyptian. Remember, he married an Egyptian for a
First
piece.
wife he had was-
Yeah, but it says he married all these different nations and women.
Because when he said his wife, maybe he could God.
Oh,
These are like woman.
Yeah.
He could be like God.
well, he had 1,000 wives. Understand? So, and remember, he said, out of 1,000 women, I haven't found any. What's he telling you there?
Both messed up.
So, Solomon, after going into having so many wives, he was able to see all his vanity, vexation, right? Having all these wives mean nothing. That's what he found out. It meant nothing, right? Eventually, it meant nothing. Because look, you fell anyway, right? What did it mean? Nothing. See? So a man don't really need that many wives. See? So a good, let's say, I would say like what David had is probably, for a king to have. Because when you read Deuteronomy 17:17, read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 17. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priest the Levite. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Most High in his power, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel.
Right, see? So a king is not supposed to multiply wives. So with the Most High, what would be a good number for a king to have? Would you say 1,000 is too many?
Yeah. What you gonna do?
Or something like what David had, maybe 7 wives, some concubines.
Dispensation.
Huh?
Depends on the dispensation.
Mike,
It depends on how long you live.
how long you live? Yeah, that might be it too.
If you live 100 years, that's something that's gonna live 1,000 years.
Right. But when the Most High said, don't multiply wives, I'm a king, so if I want to get 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 wives, am I multiplying them?
No, but what if you have more concubines than wives?
Right. But
Same thing.
it's the same thing. It's still your wife.
Not really, I mean, concubines.
It's still the same, it's a distraction.
It's still a distraction, right? See? So what I'm saying is, when the Most High said don't multiply, does he mean don't get, 2 or 3 wives? Does he mean don't do that?
You don't overdo it. I would say that. Like, don't get it like you get.
Because let's say you have 2 and you multiply that. You multiply it by 7.
Yeah.
That's going to be
That's
exceeding.
going to be exceeding, right? So that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if a king has 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 7, I would say like what David had. And then, like you said, if you multiply that, now it jumps to 14. And then then it jumps to 30. See, then, I'm saying it's too much of a distraction. Because remember, you're on the throne. Your mind got to be on taking care of the kingdom, right? And things that are Most High. So you can't have, especially like you said, all these concubines, right? So that could be multiplying wives. So the Most High is, if a man takes on if a king takes on 2 or 3 or 4 wives, he's not really multiplying. He got 2 or 3 wives and maybe a few concubines. But next thing you know, he got like what Rehoboam had. You know what I'm saying? Understand? So that could be multiplying. It's too much. And you got, and even in the kingdom of heaven, I don't see the Most High allowing a man get as many as he just wants. I don't see that. Yeah, man gonna have more than wife, but I don't see, you know what I'm saying? You can just have as many as you desire. They say, a man got, 10,000 wives. Come on, that's madness. Think about it. There's got to be a limit somewhere. There's got to be, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You have to remember, Solomon died when he was 70, right?
Yeah.
Now, 80.
Solomon died?
80.
Oh,
He
okay.
had 1,000 wives, right?
Yeah.
So say he started meeting when he was 20. So it took him 60 years to get 1,000 wives.
Yeah.
And I'm now over 1,000 years now.
Yeah. But we're going to live 1,000 years with the Spirit and understand the divine Spirit of the Most High. We're going
There's
to
greater things to do.
Yeah.
Greater.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, men gonna have wives, but it's got to be like within a reason, within reason of wisdom of reason. Go ahead.
I would like to say, we're gonna have so many things to do. People gonna lay up there with women 24/7.
Right. Right.
Space everywhere, what? Rest out.
Right. I agree. Right.
Plus, like the scripture said, right now we seeing a dark glass.
Dark,
So
right.
a dark glass half filled. Yahushua come, Yahushua gonna lay the law down.
He gonna lay it
so
down.
you ain't gonna have to be, this conversation is just like moot right now.
Exactly.
It's gonna be what it's gonna be when Yahushua said what it's gonna be.
Yeah, exactly. How about that?
Right. It's going to be much more glorious things.
Glorious things.
To do and see.
Yeah, we haven't seen that or heard
We
about.
haven't seen about.
Right.
It's going to be infinite, man.
Infinite. Okay, now a man having 2 wives is sometimes based on necessity, right? But what about the laws of separation? Maybe that's the reason why the Most High allowed it too. Right? Leviticus 12:1. Anybody ever think about that?
Yeah.
Well, the Christian world don't. They don't read you these scriptures. Leviticus 12:1. Well,
Leviticus.
Leviticus, right.
Yeah, I got you. Everybody got it?
A woman has to be separated when she's on a menstrual cycle and she has an issue. What about that? Go ahead, Al.
Leviticus chapter 12, verse 1. And the Most High spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a woman has conceived seed and born a man-child, then she shall be unclean 7 days, according to the days of the separation of her infirmity.
Go ahead.
Shall she be unclean. And in the 8th day, the flesh of the foreskin shall be circumcised, and she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 3 and 30 days. She shall touch no hollow thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purifying be fulfilled.
Right, so now the woman's separated. Now she had a child, a male child, and now she's unclean. 7 days and plus 33 days. 33 days, right?
Yeah.
So it's a total of 40 days, correct?
Correct.
Now she's unclean for 40 days. Now what is a man supposed to do? You tell me, what is a man supposed to do for 40 days while her woman's way over there separate somewhere, and he's supposed to come near her? See, right now we live in this side of our captivity. A woman's on a menstrual cycle, we got to be in the house, same house she lives. That's an abomination, right? The woman's pregnant, she's having a baby. She's supposed to be unclean for a certain number of days. But you in the same house she's in. That's an abomination. So the Most High allowed it for a man to have maybe another concubine or something because of that reason. See? That's not multiplying wide, that's just because of the reason of the separation and so forth. See? So think about it, you know what I'm saying? But everybody's looking at, the black woman going, "Ooh, cheating." It ain't about cheating. Because in this society, that's what they look at it as. Everything is cheating.
He's a dog.
Yeah, you're a dog, he's this and that. Everybody want to cheat on your behind, but if we tell you, you ain't going to understand it, you ain't going to get over emotional, right? Sometimes you want to save the emotion. You want to tell them, but you want to say the emotion, and the emotion get all, So it's not about cheating, but it's because a man, in your true spirit, you're going to be what you are. You know what I'm saying? Man. You ain't no dog, you're a man, right? So, but in these days, the black woman got to find out how a man truly is when she reads the scriptures. See? Men in Israel, how they really work. Yeah.
But in all honesty, they're not going to go for that on this side.
I know they're not.
You tell a woman, boy, you doing this like when I was impatient. She ain't trying to hear
She ain't trying to hear it. But we're just trying to show why a man had more than one wife. And the Most High permitted it. And but why did he permit it? Because it was of necessity at times. See? And that's why we read what happened with Abraham, Jacob. It was all necessity. And then here, the separation. Go ahead, Chronicler Brian, and read the next one. 5th verse.
Okay. But if she bear a male child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her separation, and she shall continue in that blood of her purifying 66 days.
How about that? So why is it more for a female child than a male child? What is that? What is the Most High showing you there? That the male child is what?
It's more clean than the
Yeah, more valuable to the Most High. The woman is valuable too, but the scripture says what? The head of the woman is the man. See? And the Most High said, out of the matrix, I want to receive
the first male.
the first male. See? So the male child is important to the Most High.
That's an order. That's an order.
That's order. That's as simple as that.
I think the circumcision makes a difference.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And Poirot, get 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. But this is what the Most High is showing here. Poirot, just get it. But it's what the Most High is showing. The man is important with the Most High. See? And also, what do you read in Genesis? What happened with Eve? When Eve sinned, Adam and Eve sinned, the Most High, the serpent, Adam and Eve and the serpent, they all sinned, right? So the Most High was giving out the punishments. He gave the punishment for the serpent, Adam, and Eve. And what was Eve's punishment? That the man shall rule over her. See? The man shall rule over her. and she shall have sorrow in childbearing. Okay? So, this is another thing the black woman got to recognize, that the black man's over her. But the black man ain't right. He can't rule himself. See? And so the black woman see he's out of order, so she ain't going to respect him because he's out of order. So you got to get in order with your Yahushua first. Then once you get in order with your Yahushua, you learn the law, statutes, and commandments, you get wisdom, then you can teach your family, see? Then she's going to straighten up. Notice that she straightened up when you teach her the commandments of the Most High. She begin to straighten up. See? So showing the man is the head, because the Most High said, he shall rule over you. See? Okay? And here is showing that too. When when the woman is unclean more days, if she have a female baby than a male. Understand? Go ahead, Al.
We're in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahushua is Yahweh.
Right, see? So that's the order. Like Ben said, the order, the structure. There's got to be order. There's order in the heavens, there's got to be order in the earth. And it starts in the family, the household. So if anybody's wondering, let's say the kids are wondering, who's in charge, mommy or daddy? Who's in charge?
Yeah, Daddy.
Yeah, daddy's in charge. I know the woman these days act like it, right? But that's okay. But the man would have the last word, right? Father had the last word. But in order.
I gotta say, it's a spiritual thing too, because
Yeah.
a mother could be with the daughter or the
Right.
son talking and talk to them. Don't do that, stop doing that. Yeah, laugh.
Yeah.
As soon as daddy step in, there's a whole different
vibration.
whole different vibration.
Right.
It's straighten up when daddy comes in. Yeah, they love daddy and everything, but what daddy said, hey,
Yeah. And they're straight up. Yeah. That's what happens in my household. I come home from work. I'm serious.
No, I'm just laughing at how you came out.
But when I come home from work, all of a sudden they laughing and giggling. All of a sudden I come in, everything is too quiet. And I notice I come down, stop laughing and giggling.
Needles off the
You know,
record.
I don't say that, but in my mind I'm saying, hey, they stop because they know they were probably saying something wicked or doing something, you know. So, you know, but that's true. When that male lion come in the tribe, right?
Yeah, in order.
Everything's in order. It means order, right?
Needles off the record.
Understand? So it's the same thing. And that's how it's supposed to be. See? Okay, and did we finish that?
Yes, verse 3.
Okay, and then now get, let's see, Leviticus. Oh, let's see. Okay, Leviticus, Coronavirus Brian, 18:19. Leviticus 18:19. And then Quara, get Ephesians 5:22.
Leviticus chapter 18, verse 19. Also, thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness as long as she is put apart for her uncleanliness.
Right, how about that? See? Her uncleanliness. Okay? So when a woman is put apart for a menstrual cycle, a man's not supposed to come near her, all right? And deal with her for 7 days. So now, how does a man deal with that? If she's put apart for 7 days, sometime he had a concubine take place until, understand? He had a concubine. Okay? Just read that part, Ephesians 5:22 right quick.
All right, we're in the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as unto the Most High.
Right, so wives must submit themselves to their own husbands as unto the Most High. Go ahead.
All right? Even as, when the husband is the head of the wife, even as Yahushua is the head of the church.
Right, see, that's order. The husband is the head of the wife, and then you have the children and so forth, but Yahushua is the head of the church, the congregation, the nation of Israel. He's the head. See, that's order. See? Go ahead.
Yeah, in Leviticus 12 and 5, we finished it with about when she have a female child, but it didn't break down, because it said for 14 days and then 3 days after that. So
Right. Okay.
80 days.
80 days. Right. We didn't finish that, right? So she's unclean for 80 days.
What the
It's a
guy,
female child. Huh?
what the guy supposed to do?
Right. What's the man supposed to do for 80 days?
Almost,
If you only have one wife.
3 months.
3 months, almost 3 months.
Now you tell me what are you supposed to do? I know a black woman saying, well, he's supposed to wait. No, he's not. He's not supposed to wait. He's a man. He don't have to wait. He gotta wait. See? So that's why the Mosai permitted that. And every empire that ruled, they always had slaves. Every kingdom had slaves. So that's what you have concubine for. They were like servants, slave, woman, or whatever. So wasn't a black woman a bedwench to the white man in slavery? You're damn right. He had concubines. So we're going to have that in the kingdom of heaven, brother. Concubines. So when your wife is unclean for having babies or whatever, you have your concubine right there. See? So, you know, nobody wants to hear that and all that, man. But that's every society has that, man. Just that Esau, the devil, he's a faggot to boot. So, you know, he don't want more than one wife. He want to be a homosexual.
You and a boy.
Yeah, and you know all these presidents had more than one wife. Kennedy had all kinds of women up there.
There's so much sex scandal in the White
Yeah.
House, it's ridiculous.
Come on, Bush had Condoleezza Rice. Clinton had Monica Lewinsky. You know, and you know Barack Obama doing something. He has these homos plus. Come on.
Hershey Highway.
Yeah, come on, man. That's all they doing. But they gonna tell society, no, one wife, while they go sleep around. You know, come on. So Ezekiel 18:6, correct, Brian? Ezekiel 18:6. And then Quara, get Exodus 21:7. 21:7 and Cross by Brian, Ezekiel 18:6. So we got that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 6. And hath not eaten upon the mountain, neither has lifted up his eyes to the idols of the house of Israel, neither hath defiled his neighbor's wife, neither has come near to a menstruous woman.
Right, so it's telling you the menstruation of a woman. A man's not supposed to come near a menstruous woman. All right? And it tells you, let me get it, I think it's Deuteronomy 15 about menstrual cycle. Right? Get Deuteronomy 15. Use Deuteronomy 15. Let's see. Huh? Leviticus 15?
Leviticus, I know, is on the Lord.
Deuteronomy speaks about it.
Huh?
Deuteronomy speaks about it. Deuteronomy 15?
I thought it was 15.
Leviticus 15.
Huh?
Leviticus 15.
Yeah, get that. Leviticus 15.
Okay.
Leviticus 15. And you said what, the 19th verse? Yeah. Yeah, read that, 19th verse. Leviticus 15, 19.
About an issue. Oh, but read 19?
Yeah, read 19.
Oh, yeah, okay. Leviticus chapter 15, verse 19. And if the woman has an issue, and her issues in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whosoever touches her shall be unclean until the evening.
You can't even touch her, bro. I know now you touch her, she's still cooking food on the menstrual cycle, all that type of stuff. That's really an abomination. We're not supposed to be doing that. No actuality. See?
Oh.
So, in the kingdom of heaven, you gonna have your wife cooking food on menstrual cycle? No. She's gonna be way across over there, the other field, separate.
You should not have been breathing no more.
And she ain't gonna come around, you can't even touch the house that she's in for that whole period.
There's an issue there.
And I know a woman like, I'm gonna be by myself. I'm gonna just. That's the law. See?
You have servants over there.
Yeah, you have servants and stuff, but what I'm saying is, yeah, you ain't gonna have no man over there. So what is a man supposed to do? See? He got a concubine to take care of. If you can't cook for him and stuff like that, he got a concubine. Or his other wife. You understand? See? So, I mean, it's common sense. This is out of necessity. This ain't because a man just, lust and have another woman. It ain't because of that. I know that's what the woman think. They think carnal. You know what I'm saying? But it's not that. You can't even touch her for 7 days. All right? And whosoever touches her shall be unclean. So if you touch her, you unclean now. See? Okay, is there any more to that?
No, it says unclean until evening.
And then 20th verse.
Oh, this say everything here.
Yeah.
And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean.
Yeah, so anything she touched. Let's say if she sit on the bed and get up and go somewhere else because you coming home or something, but she sat on that bed now. You can't sit on that bed now. It's unclean. And you going on the subway, all these women on a menstrual cycle. Right? See how much this is a size abomination? And this woman got jobs on a menstrual cycle.
Preacher.
Madness. Go.
The scripture says we must be holy as in your shine.
Yeah.
So if you want to go on the big thing like that,
Right.
that's pretty good.
These women are on the job with you. She a cop, you a cop. She got a badge, you got a badge. She got a gun, you got a gun. Uh-oh, here come a menstrual cycle. Yeah, you're in Afghanistan in the trenches. You got your gear on, the woman got her gear on, you got your helmet on, she got her helmet on. She got her combat boots, you got yours. She got her M16, you got yours. Uh-oh, here come the menstrual cycle. What you gonna do with a menstrual cycle?
What Esau did, he has a new thing now where they could use. They could stop the menstrual for a whole year.
That's wicked as hell, huh? That's gonna kill us. Huh?
That's what I was going to say. You can advertise in Peter. You see Peter twice a year.
That's wicked as hell, huh?
If you don't bleed every month, it's evil as hell too.
Yeah, because you're stopping the natural flow of the cleansing process. The cleansing process. You stopping that.
It's also promoting lesbianism.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that,
Right.
It stifles the hormones because
Yeah.
the hormones she has, it turns into a more the male hormone. What do they call it? Estrogen or estrogen?
Yeah, testosterone.
Testosterone. Yeah.
Wicked as hell, huh? See?
yeah.
So we see this is a type of society, a gay society, right? So it promoting lesbianism. That's what it is. So that's good on that one. And then did he read Exodus 21 and 7?
No, he didn't read it yet.
Read that. Exodus 21 and 7.
All right, we're in the book of Exodus, chapter 21, verse 7. And if a man sells his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as the men servants do.
He's selling his daughter. Israel did this, and when you read it, you got to understand. Israel did this. Selling his daughter to be a maidservant to another Hebrew. You understand? To be a servant to another Hebrew. Israel did that. That's permitted. Go ahead, Al.
If she please not her master, who have betrothed her to himself, to betroth her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed. To sell her unto a strange nation, he shall have no power.
Right. So let's say if you buy a Hebrew woman to be a maidservant, and you really want her as, your woman or whatever, you know what I'm saying, as your wife or whatever. But, the person you buying the woman from, they don't know that. You just saying, this is going to be my maidservant, or servant. But next thing you know, you lay with the woman. See? Now, what if the woman don't please you? Uh-oh. See? What if she don't please you now? See? Now what do? The Lord said, you can't, she must be redeemable. She must be able to be redeemable. Understand? You can't sell her. You can't sell her to a strange nation. Understand? She has to be redeemable. So go ahead, Op.
To sell her unto a strange nation, he shall have no power, seeing he hath dealt deceitfully with her.
So how did he deal with deceitfully?
I'm fooling the father.
Yeah, fooling the father. See? Understand? So she's able to be redeemed. Go ahead, Op.
If he hath betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters.
Uh-oh, now he got to deal with her after the manner of daughters. He has to take care of her like a daughter. Understand? Go ahead, Op.
Verse 10. If he take him another wife,
So what if his son take another wife also? So he got that one, and he took another wife. Uh-oh. It seems like it must have happened, right? So this is a man now who has two wives. Understand? But what happened? Go ahead.
her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish.
Yeah. He took another wife because maybe he don't like that one as much no more or whatever. Understand? So he took another wife. But the Mosai is saying, if you take another wife, you have to do what?
Keep the same thing going.
Right, keep the same thing going. Food, raiment, and the duties of marriage, what is that?
Sex.
Yeah, sex. She wants sex too, brother. You can't leave her out. You can't leave her out because you may not find, she may be the one that you do like the least or whatever. You can't leave her out. What's she going to do for all her years?
Going to dungeon?
Huh?
Going to dungeon?
You put her on the debt. But see, the Mosai, the law is here. You got to abide by the law. You got to deal with it. Even though you might not want to, you got to deal with it, brother. You should have took it. You should have took it. See? Yeah. Huh?
That's because Scripture said you're not supposed to make the daughter of Israel a whore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the daughters of Israel are. Right.
If you send her somewhere else,
Right.
that'll be the same thing.
That'll be the same thing. Right. Exactly. Right. So we're almost finished up. I know, I got to get to the point. I'm not, Deuteronomy 21:15. Read that for us. 21:15. Deuteronomy 21:15.
Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 15. If a man has two wives, one beloved and the other hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be, when he maketh his son to inherit that which he has, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he had, for he is the beginning of his strength. The right of his firstborn is his.
Right. So if a man has two wives, which of course Mosai is saying that could happen, right? That's permitted to have two wives. But if a man does, the woman that is hated, if she has the firstborn, then he has the right to the inheritance first, then the other children that he has.
So,
See, that's by the law. So the Mosai has all these laws that are stipulated in here because men are going to have more than one wife. So that means it's allowed. Deuteronomy 22:28. Read that. Then we're going to go in the New Testament right quick, and we're going to have about 2 scriptures there.
okay, read now Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her. He may not put her away all his days.
Right, so I'm just saying, if you find a woman that's a virgin, and you humble her, and you deal with her sexually and so forth, see, now she becomes your wife in all actuality. See? Yeah, there was no ceremony, there was no, contract or whatever, but yeah, that's your wife, you humbled her, she's a virgin.
But it said if they be the catches that they found,
Yeah.
somebody got to catch you now.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
yeah, somebody got to catch you, but still, it's a wicked thing if you don't, don't do it.
The contract comes in when he has to pay the
He has to pay the-
shekels.
pay the
Because
shekels.
That's where the agreement, everything
That's
comes
where
in.
the agreement.
This is what you have to do, this, such,
Right.
and such, yeah.
Right.
So that's when the contract comes in,
Right.
when he has to pay that shekel.
Isn't that so?
Yeah.
But it wasn't an agreement
Before it happened.
beforehand. Right, that's the
He
problem.
was found.
Yeah, we were found, right. See? So okay, so now, the Spirit is just showing us the different laws that there is, right, where the Most High permitted men to have more than one wife. And this is what we're trying to convey here, the Spirit of the Most High. Now when you go in the New Testament, right, in 1 Timothy 3:1, but why does Yahushua come back and say this? In the New Testament, in the Gospel, he says this.
Reading out of 1 Timothy
Yeah,
chapter 3, verse 1.
right.
This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of bishop, he desires a good work.
Right, now what's a bishop? Anybody know what a bishop is?
Like an overseer of
Yeah.
a congregation.
An overseer, you're right.
Yeah, it's a Levite.
Yeah.
Supposed to be a bishop.
It doesn't have to be a Levite.
Doesn't have to be a Levite, just an overseer. I mean, back when you're reading, of course, the Old Testament, it was Levites, right? A priest. I mean, it's like a Catholic word for priest, but still, it's like an overseer, right? A guardian over the congregation. And it says he desired, that's a good work for a man to desire, right? So go ahead, second verse.
Second verse says, Bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, diligent, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach, not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous, one that ruleth well his own house, having his children in subjugation with all, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of the Most High? Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into the condemnation of the devil.
Right, so now, when reading all that, right, those are the qualities of a man who's seeking to be overseer of a congregation, like a bishop type, right? So, but why did he say one wife? Why would a bishop, if he's going to be blameless, must have one wife? Why is that? When you read the scriptures, it says, you had men who had two wives, you had kings. A king is basically overseer of the nation, right? But why, you had these kings who had 60 some odd wives, but now Yahushua in the gospel saying one wife. Why is that all of a sudden? Huh? Why is that?
I
Yeah.
would say because the king has advisors, but a bishop would be the advisor. Like over that, like somebody like would have been a Samuel. He would be, and he has to be, it said vigilant, diligent, and he has to be more to the needs of the congregation.
Right.
But I think it probably would be taxing to have more than one wife.
Oh, okay. Okay, now we're coming into, right, how it would be,
Taxing, so now he's dealing
maybe
with
more, afflict him more,
yeah, dealing with
where he
more
couldn't have the
personality.
ability to deal with what he has to deal with. Yeah. Go ahead, the Fatima.
When they read the history of Paul,
Huh?
when they read the history of Paul, he was traveling and cleaning up these churches.
Uh-huh.
So my understanding that he got one specific church. But that law was for that specific
Also, the building up that house.
See, Yeah, go ahead, Shalom.
You also got to consider too, just like you got to go in the history of the Romans, back then they was passing, making laws, the Romans making a law for prostitution back then. And so, remember, our people followed the Gentiles, started doing what the Gentiles do.
Right.
And they took on the same customs. Remember, they were scattered,
Right.
scattered in different provinces. They were taking on all the customs. But like you go back to what you said, they're trying to clean up some of these congregations. I think they instituted that. Because even when you go into the order, like of the bishop, it was still more like the priest back then.
Right.
They had to have a certain amount of wives, but it was more stricter because Esau was ruling.
Right.
And they passed these different policies.
Okay, good.
You can read the same scripture with the woman and the woman.
Right. Right.
So you have to take it when you probably go to certain church, woman was in the church.
Woman was, right. Right. Okay. Good point. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Daria.
it was main focal point was getting the congregation more closer to the house.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, that's what I want to hear, more like that. Right. But all those points were good. But if an overseer, remember Paul said, I think I had the Spirit of the Most High. So when Paul wrote these things down, you got to understand that it wasn't, even though this was Timothy, right? And when Paul wrote these letters, it was for that particular church where he was going to visit and so forth, right? But of course, it was really for who? The whole nation. Really for the whole nation. Even the 7 churches in Revelation was just a sort of like the personality of that certain church at that time, but the book of Revelation was really written for the whole nation. All right? And so the letter of Revelation went out to those certain churches, but it was really for the whole nation. See, so, but those 7 churches just was like a small character of how the whole nation would be as a whole. And the different things that were going on in those churches, a lot of it was wicked as hell. That's what we have now. You go to some of these Israelite schools, you see all kinds of wickedness. So that's what they were dealing with back then. So, but why would Yahushua show Paul, well, the bishop should only have, you're going to be blameless, have one wife. Because now, during that time, like the brother said, we were under the Romans, right? We were under the Romans. So how in the hell are you going to be in captivity and have all these wives? How? It's not going to, like he said, you want to be more perfectly in Yahushua. It's not going to look morally correct, right? A brother come up here, he got 60 wives, and we in captivity under our enemy. Yeah, this doesn't, you understand what I'm saying? So you're going to be a leader over a church or a congregation, you're going to have, you ain't a leader no more over a nation no more because you're in captivity. A nation's dispersed. You understand? You have a small little church somewhere, see? But you're over a nation. So your nation is destroyed in the exile. So, but here you still got 60 wives or whatever. Understand what I'm saying? It ain't going to seem right and correct. See? Understand? So, yeah, you might have brothers today on this side of our captivity who have, 2 wives or whatever. But still, this is what Yahushua said: if you're going to be blameless, see, you're going to deal with the woman. See, until we get where? Into the kingdom of heaven, brother. See, because this is not our setup. See? Plus, the glory of a man is woman, right? The Lord took our glory away from us. He took our glory away from us. So why would the Most High permit you to have your glory when He can't get His glory yet? And that's the nation of Israel, Lord. So He's going to take your woman away. So He ain't going to permit you to have all these wives, and you ain't right with Him yet. And brothers don't understand that. And this is some of the reasons why He's saying that. Understand? But the Most High know a man want more than one wife. You know that already.
Right, and it's also too, it's to keep you from being distracted. Focus.
Right.
In doing the obligation, the duties of the Most High.
What's that?
Understand?
It's simple.
And and what it also does, it keeps away
Yeah,
The adultery and all that.
temptation, yeah, adultery, yeah. He's right. See? Because that's how Israel fell out. Remember, we fell out by spiritual adultery. See? Idol worship. See? So the Most High not going to let you have all these, be tempted by all these women and have all these women. And you ain't right with him, and you went spiritual adultery. So the Most High said, no. You ain't going to have it. If I can't have you right, then you ain't going to have your woman right. Now you go home, and the Most High said, well, a man's enemy shall be his wife and his family. Because we ain't in order with the Most High correctly. See? So that's why he says in the 12th verse also, the 12th verse, we're not going to read all that. You read it when you go home. Read the 12th verse.
Verse 12. Let the deacons be the husbands of one wife, ruling their children and their own houses well.
Right. See? Well, you can read the rest by yourself, but what's a deacon? See? Brothers that support the bishops and the overseers. That's all a deacon is. You support the church. Okay? So it's talking about the other men too. Husbands of one wife. But that's why the Most High is saying it. And then get to one in Titus 1:1. Titus 1:1. Titus 1 and the first chapter, first verse. Read that. And read on down, huh? Then make sure the camera is right. I'm standing up, that's it.
Read now Titus chapter 1, verse 1. Paul, a servant of the Most High and an apostle of Hamashiach Yahushua, according to the faith of the Most High's elect, and the acknowledging of the truth, which is after godliness, in the hope of eternal life, which Yahweh that cannot lie promised before the world began, but said in due times, manifested his word through preaching.
See, manifest his word through the preaching. How about that? Through the prophet's teaching, the Most High's word will be manifest. See? That's why we go out there and teach. Go ahead, up.
Which is committed unto me, according to the commandments of Yahamashiach, our Savior, to Titus, mine own son, after the common faith, grace, mercy, and peace from Yahweh, the Father, and the Hamashiach Yahushua, our Savior. For this cause left I thee in Crete, that thou shouldest set in order the things that are wanting, and ordain elders in every city, as I have appointed thee.
See what he said? Where's Crete at? Everybody, all you scholars, where's Crete at?
Gulf of Macedonia and Greece, right?
Right
Yeah.
below Crispus,
Yeah, off the coast
of
of
Cyprus.
Greece, Greek island. It's one of the Greek islands, right? But he said he's going to set elders in every city. How about that? Most High appointed Paul to set elders in all the cities. He's the one that set Titus up, and Timothy up, and Mark, and other apostles, and so forth. Paul, and set them as elders in all these cities where Israel was scattered at, and set up churches. Understand? Because now we're dispersed. So, but this is one point that Paul's going to make now in the 6th verse. Go ahead, up.
If any be blameless, the husband of one wife, having faithful children, not accused of riot or unruly.
You see, if any be blameless, see, husband of one wife, having faithful children, not accused of riot, unruly. How about that? Your children also got to be in order, right? And you got to be able to teach them. Remember the other scripture says you can't rule your own house. How you going to rule the kingdom? How you going to rule the church of the Most High? See? So you got to remember all that. Go ahead, up.
For a bishop must be blameless as the steward of the Most High.
Yeah, blameless as a steward, meaning a servant. Go ahead, up.
Not self-willed, not soon angry, not given to wine, nor striker, not given to filthy lucre, but a lover of hospitality, a lover of good men, sober, just, holy, temperate.
Right, so he must be able to have temperate. His emotions must be level. He must be level-headed. Understand? So he can't be a striker or soon angry. See? Somebody whose emotions fly out of control. You don't want nobody like that running the house of the Most High. So Paul is really giving you an example how everyone here should be. Because whether you're a bishop or a deacon, this is how you should be. It doesn't matter. See? He's giving you an example.
And when it says not given to wine, it's not saying he can't drink wine.
Right.
But it means he can't be indulged and being a
Indulged.
drunk. He's
Yeah.
drunk. That's all you're doing all the time.
How about that? Understand? Because that's another distraction. How you going to be drunk all the time and then you can't make decisions and teach the Most High's word drunk?
After you're drunk, we have a hangover.
Right. See? But we've had all these type of things happen in Israel. Understand? And brothers in those positions are doing this. See? But like I said, a lover of hospitality, a lover of good men, sober, just, holy, temperate. Go ahead, read the...
Verse 9, holding fast the faithful word as he has been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the gainslayer.
Right, see? Convince the gainsayers. Understand? And hold fast the faithful word as he's been taught. So that's an example of what we all should be doing. Understand? So, yeah, so we're going to be tempted with one or more, some of these things that's, but you're still supposed to strive to do what the scripture is saying do. Understand? I mean, David, Most High said he's a perfect man, right? But he had that one thing. He did number the people too. Okay? He committed adultery and he numbered the people. Okay. But other than that, the Most High said, that's my servant. That's who I want. Okay? So you may have that one thing that you do, but still, you're supposed to strive to do what is right. Moses, meekest man, but he had that one thing. Right. And he was provoked to do that. Understand? So when he didn't get the Most High glory, he struck the rock.
Struck the rock.
But he was provoked, really. We know he's provoked, but still, you know what I'm saying? But other than that, he was perfect before the Most High. So that's what we got to strive to do. So now, back in the Old Testament, let's get Isaiah, the 4th chapter, 1st verse, and that'll be the last one.
1 and 4?
No, the 4th chapter.
Oh, damn, that's backwards. 4 and 1?
Yeah.
Sloppy.
Now, how come nobody ever reads this?
Can I talk this out?
Yeah, go ahead.
Over the look in the church, deacons, bishop, the elder, one wife. But yet it's what come upon them more than one wife.
I hear you all the way. Say it again.
I said in the church,
Yeah.
you have the elders and with one wife. But at the same time, the people that teach like this
Have more than one wife. Right.
having more than one wife.
Yeah, it doesn't look right.
You have to be understanding.
Right.
You have to be a clean process. If you teach an individual coming up and channelizes sweat on two wives, they will get promoted to bishop. What we don't do those people.
Right. Right. Exactly. I agree. I concur. So that's why brothers that if you have two wives, then you have them. See? That's why some men is distributed to have what they have, and some men might not have. Understand what I'm saying? So where we read in the Old Testament where, some kings had this many wives, other kings had, what they had. Why did Solomon have all the gold and wisdom and knowledge, and the other kings didn't have all that? Understand? Because that's what the Most High gave him. Yeah, understand? So if you're somebody that have already two wives, well, no, you got to keep them as they're your wives. You can't make her commit fornication now and get rid of her. So you still got to deal with it. The scripture says righteously.
But then he can't be a bishop. He has to stay in that position. That's the requirement.
God, no. But if he already has them, he already has them. What you gonna do?
You can't get rid of them.
Yeah, you can't get rid of them. You know. So, that's. But this is what we're dealing with. And here's in Isaiah 4:1, it goes back to show you how the Most High is going to have it when we get into the kingdom. Right? Now read that for us.
Read out of Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name, to take away our reproach.
So why does the Most High, now he's saying, and this didn't happen yet, so this is an Old Testament, didn't happen yet, right? But why is he saying one wife here, but now he comes back in the Old Testament, in the future prophecy, it says 7 women now will take hold of the man. See? Because we're in the kingdom here, we're going to be, understand? On our way to the kingdom here. And so the Most High allows it and will permit it here. But on this side of our captivity, how you going to do it? You're not in your kingdom. Right.
And then too, Barak, it's going to be a drastic change of power and rulership. It's going to be a lot of death and bloodshed too. A lot of death.
And the woman going to, look, I don't care. If you want my own wife, go ahead. But just let me be called by your name.
It might be another way out of here too.
That's going to be our way out of here.
It might be another way out of here too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they want to buy their own stuff.
Right.
So they're going to wake up.
They're going to wake up. Because a man shall be more precious than fine gold. So that means a man to them is going to be like gold. See? They're going to grab hold of just about any man they find. Just the only single one, right?
know that's dealing with the Most High.
Right.
Because that's protection.
And they're going to want to deal with single men of the Most High. A single woman going to want to deal with men like that. And they're going to want to get a little nigga out there in the street. So I just want to show you that it's going to come back to, you know, a man able to have more than one wife. But you do in the New Testament read the one wife because that's for now. You gotta understand that. See? And if a man does have more than one wife now, then he has to deal with it righteously. See? Some men will come in there with that, you know. So what are you gonna do? But still, you gotta strive to please the Most High in righteousness. Understand? And that's what you gotta strive to do. Go ahead, Ben. That was it. Okay. So that's it, of the Most High showed us something there. All right, shalom.
Shema Yasher Allah Yahweh Allah Yahweh Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our power, Yahweh is